Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, 5 Reasons to Earn a Master's in Clinical Mental Health Counseling at Divine Mercy University. My name's Julie Cipriano. I am the admissions recruiter for the School of Counseling. And if you call this university or email the university about counseling, I'm the one you'll end up speaking to. So we're going to go through this information here quickly. It'll be a lot of information, very fast. You're bound to have questions. That's great. I'd love to answer them for you. But I ask that you please hold your questions until we get to the end of the webinar. And as they occur to you, feel free to pop them into the chat or into the chat on your Zoom toolbar, and I will be happy to address them at the end of the webinar. All right, so here we go. 5 reasons to earn a master's in counseling at Divine Mercy University. So we are Divine Mercy University. We're a graduate school of psychology and counseling. That's all we do is train people for the helping professionals in the mental health for the helping professions in the mental health professional field. We were founded in the late 90s under the name Institute for the Psychological Sciences. That college still exists. It houses our psychology side. We have another online master's degree, a master's in general psychology that we offer. That's a degree for people who already have a career and don't need clinical skills. Maybe they work in human resources or school administration or religious life or something like that, and they just need a deeper understanding of the person and the way the groups function, the way mind works, that kind of thing. Or maybe they need a master's credential to advance in their field. So that's a degree that's good for those kind of people. We also, in our psychology side, have a doctorate in clinical psychology, or PsyD. That is a 5-year on-site whole life commitment degree. So, while we do offer several online programs, we are a brick and mortar school as well. And we have PsyD students who are here on campus almost year round working towards their doctorate in clinical psychology. What they found through offering those programs was that there was such a need for counselors, and particularly for counselors of faith. So they decided to go ahead and add the second college that we're discussing, the School of Counseling, and the Master's in Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Excuse me. So when a school has more than one college, that's the point at which they take a university name. So that's how we went from being plain old IPS to Divine Mercy University. We seek to provide our students an effective academic and educational environment to support the integration of the human sciences and a Catholic Christian understanding of the person. So DMU is fully accredited. We have institutional accreditation, which is, the baseline accreditation you should look for in any US school you attend. So if you're considering other schools and they can't give you a simple yes to that institutional accreditation question, that's your sign to go very quickly in the opposite direction. The way accreditation works in the US is each area of the country has its own accrediting agency. Each one has a different name. So where we are, our institutional agency is called SACS, or the Southern Association. The Southern Association region goes from where we are in Virginia all the way down around to Texas. So UT, Auburn, UVA, all those schools are accredited by SACS, just like we are. So when you start talking about psychology and counseling, there are a couple of extra accreditations that can be earned. APA is kind of the big dog of all of those. You see that logo down there at the bottom in the center. Most people have heard of APA, or American Psychological Association. Our PsyD is APA accredited. In fact, we became only the second school in the whole history of the USA to receive the full 7-year accreditation grant on the first try, and they just extended that grant to 10 years. So we do have APA accreditation for our PsyD. Now, when you start talking about counseling, the extra accreditation for that type of program is known by the acronym CACREP, C-A-C-R-E-P, and you see that down here on the bottom right of our presentation slide. This accreditation means that our School of Counseling can license graduates in every state in the country. So our degree does meet the requirements for licensing in every state in the US. All right, so if you have any questions about accreditation, I'd be happy to answer them. Please just pop them into the chat box on your Zoom toolbar and we'll tackle them at the end of the presentation. All right, so what makes DMU different? Excuse me. Well, we have something that we call a Catholic Christian meta model of the person. This model is unique to our university. It was developed by our faculty, and it's the reason that most people choose our school. Through this model, they'll teach the student to frame a treatment plan based on the Catholic understanding of the person that we are integrated beings, body, mind, and soul. And so when you inevitably encounter somebody who doesn't believe in God, who doesn't want to talk about God, that's okay. You know, we understand that the objective truth of how we are, of who we are and how we were created does not hinge on one's belief or unbelief. So you can help a client reach or move towards flourishing, even if they don't believe in God, even if they never want to talk about God, that's okay. If you search our website for a Catholic Christian meta model, there'll be a nice kind of overview that you can download and read. It's about 40 pages of the theology and philosophy behind why we teach the way we do. So I encourage you to read through that. If you can't find it for some reason, just feel free to email me and I'll be happy to send it to you. And I will share my contact info when we get to the end of the presentation. So any questions about DMU and our model and our way of viewing the human person, please feel free to pop those questions into the chat in your Zoom toolbar and I'll tackle them at the end of the webinar. All right, so first reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling at Divine Mercy University. Well, this degree does lead to licensing in every state in the US, as we mentioned. So licensing is something that happens after you graduate. It is typically what happens is as soon as possible after graduation, you sit for your licensing exam. Once you pass that exam, you're then provisionally licensed. Some states require 2 exams, but some just require the national, some have a state. It just varies by state, and so you have to go to kind of your state licensing board to figure out what they require. And find that information on our website, but if you don't want to take our word for it, you can always go to counseling.org. It's a great resource. You're going to need it if you enter school anyway, so it's good to check it out. Counseling.org has a nice state-by-state knowledge center, so you can click on your state. It'll tell you, which exams you have to take, how long you have to work under supervision, and also contact information for your state licensing board. So once you pass the national counseling exam, then you're provisionally licensed, as I mentioned, and then you have to work under supervision for a time before you're fully licensed. Usually it takes about 2 years to wrap up that supervised period. So you will, during that time, be working and being paid as a therapist. However, you'll just have that safety net of someone with more experience, someone with the proper training to really guide you through your first couple of years of being an independent therapist. So it's a great boon to getting your career off to a great start as a mental health professional. And it'll add to your group of peers who can help you be successful as a counselor. So again, I encourage you to check out counseling.org, check on your state to see what the requirements are for licensing. As you move through your studies at DMU, your professors will give you assignments that relate to licensing just to make sure that you understand the process and that you're headed in the right direction. Fun fact about DMU, 100% of our graduates who sit for the national exam pass it. So we don't want you to be the one who breaks our perfect record, so you can be sure that we will be sure that as a student, you're well prepared and ready to do well on this exam. All right, so 100% is one of our favorite numbers. You'll hear it again in this webinar, so listen carefully. All right. So second reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, this program is an online hybrid. Because counseling is a helping and a people profession, there are certain aspects that just don't lend themselves to online learning. So that's why we have established residency, practicum, and internship, just to make sure that you get the skills you need in the best way we can teach them to you. So residency happens as you're a student. It happens 3 times as you move through your online studies. And they use that time together here on campus to teach the counseling skills that don't lend themselves to online learning. So things like nonverbal communication, situational ethics, there are always a ton of presentations by faculty, students, and student groups. It's also a big gateway weekend. So all the professors are there with you, and they're looking to make sure that each student has gained the skills needed to be ready to move on to the next section. So again, there are 3 of these residencies as you move through your studies. The first one is always 8 weeks after you begin. That's a gateway. So everybody just takes the one class that culminates in their first residency. And then if you're a full-time student, after that one class, you'll jump into your full-time course load. First class always culminates in your first residency 8 weeks after you begin. The second one is a year later. So right now we're enrolling for our January cohort. So students who start school in January will come to campus for the first time in March. And then the second visit to campus would be the following March. So you come back a year later. And then the third residency is 6 months to a year after the second one, depending on if you're part-time or full-time. They are 4 days long. So you arrive on a Wednesday evening and stay through a Sunday afternoon. While you're here, they'll expect you to be on site and attend the whole program. There is a fee for this training that's built into your tuition. The breakdown is $16.50 per residency. That fee covers your training, obviously, but also your hotel and most of your meals while you're here. Once you finish your third residency, you'll then step into practicum and internship, and these are done in your own area based on the kind of counseling work you'd like to do. So whether it's addictions, trauma, marriage and family, you can choose your internship accordingly. We have a director of internship who will work with you to help you secure that relationship. And our internship placement is 100%. There's our favorite number again. So you will get an internship and we will help you with it. So of those, the practicum comes first, and practicum is 100 hours of on-the-job training. This is what gets you ready for the real hands-on counseling work of your internship. And at least 40 of that 100 hours will be direct service with actual counseling clients. Once you finish that on-the-job training, you'll then step into your 2 internships. Each internship is 300 hours and spans 16 weeks. Again, we do have a director of internship who will work closely with you to help you identify where it is you might like to work in your area based on your interest. And as I said, our internship placement is 100%. You will get one and we will help you with it. All right, so third reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, these are a few of our fantastic faculty who will, train you as you move through your studies at DMU. This is maybe 20% or a little less than 20% maybe of our total faculty. You can go to our website, and on the counseling pages, you can find bios for all of our counseling faculty, along with contact information. They're always happy to hear from prospective students. So if you are reading through the bios and see someone whose career kind of resonates with you, who kind of took a path that you're hoping to take, by all means, reach out. They'll be happy to hear from you, answer your questions. Ultimately, they'll send you back to me, I'm sure, but they are absolutely open to hearing from prospective students. So left to right, we have Dr. Vivlechka, or Dr. V as the students call her. She is our program director for the School of Counseling. So she, in addition to teaching classes, makes all the big decisions about waivers and, helps us with admission stuff. So she's, very active in the day-to-day running of the School of Counseling. Beside Dr. V, we have Dr. Keys. He is one of our internship site directors, so he helps everybody who lives east of the Mississippi. He teaches trauma, and he also runs our Center for Trauma and Resiliency Studies. If you've never heard of that, I encourage you to look through that on our website. Many of our counseling students earn a certification as a clinical field traumatologist at the same time that they're earning their master's in counseling. So that's well worth investigating. Beside Dr. Keys, we have Dr. Sharp. He is our internship site director for the West Coast. So everyone who lives west of the Mississippi will go to Dr. Sharp for help with internship placement. And then beside Dr. Sharp, we have Drs. DiLiaco and Humes. Dr. DiLiaco is one of our international professors, so he resides and works in Philippines. And then Dr. Humes lives in the north central part of the country somewhere, I believe. Again, their full bios are on our website. Feel free to look through, see who's there, and contact any of them if you like. All right, fourth reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, JOB, that's why most people do this degree. They'd like to find a work as a mental health professional. And this is an extremely versatile degree. You can do a lot of things with it, but the truth is that most people do earn it because they're looking to become a licensed professional counselor, somebody who helps people reach flourishing through talk therapy. I've had, lots of alumni guests on this webinar in the past. You can find them on our DMU's YouTube channel. So check that out for some other repeats of this exciting webinar, plus many other bits of information. But anyway, in the past, alumni have said that they handle all of these bullets in their day-to-day work as a counselor. You will be well trained to handle whatever comes your way as a therapist. However, as I said, this degree is versatile. There was a time at DMU when our dean of students was someone who had a master's in clinical mental health counseling. And in the county where I reside, in the social services division, the person who is the director of social services is someone who has a master's in clinical mental health counseling. So she's in charge of all the social workers, foster care. She runs all those aspects for the county. So you can do a lot with this degree. It is quite versatile. You'll be well prepared also for whatever comes your way as a therapist. A lot of times people want to know how much they're going to earn as a counselor, and I don't know. It's such a huge range. Obviously, if you work at a homeless shelter, you're going to earn a homeless shelter salary. If you live in a reasonably metropolitan area and hang out your shingle and go into private practice, you're going to jump up to 6 figures pretty quickly. So just depends on where you are and what you choose to do with your degree. But your favorite search engine is a great tool to kind of figure out median salary in your area, what counselors are bringing home where you live. All right, fifth reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling at Divine Mercy University. This degree is an online hybrid, therefore it's extremely flexible. You can be anywhere in the world you want to be and still get your schoolwork done. The lectures are available 24/7 whenever it suits you to access the material. As you move through your studies, your professors will arrange for weekly real-time meetings to do things like discussion group, question and answer, review, all that good stuff. So you will be working very closely with your professors. You'll also work very closely with the other students in your cohort, not only to, build your counseling skills, but also to build the professional friendships and relationships that you'll need once you become a mental health professional. So our entrance requirements are a bachelor's degree in any discipline. It doesn't matter to us. It's an entry-level program. So, if your degree is in basket weaving, as long as you have a GPA of 3.0 overall, or in your major, or in your last 60 credits, that's fine with us. We also require the GRE. Now that's the bad news. The good news is that we don't use the scores to make admissions decisions. So we don't care what you get necessarily, we just need you to do it. So I would say don't waste a lot of time preparing for it. Just go give it your best shot, rip that Band-Aid off and never think about it again. The only way we could waive the GRE requirement is if you have a master's degree already or higher, then we can request a waiver from Dr. V and she will say yes. If you are an international student and your transcripts are from your undergraduate degree are in a language other than English, or if they're graded on a scale other than 4.0 like we use in the US, then you would need to have the transcript evaluated for equivalency in the US. If that's a service that you need, we have a company that we recommend working with that is cheaper and faster than the giant corporations that people tend to find and use for that service. So just give me a shout if you need help with a transcript evaluation. If your first language is not English, then we also have a TOEFL requirement, and you can see those score requirements here on this little box on the right. All right, so here's where the rubber hits the road, my friends. The cost per credit for the 24-25 school year is $9.53 per credit. It's a 66 credit master's degree. So 953 times 66 is 62,898. There's a technology fee of 50 per course for a total of 1,100. Lab fees are 375. And then the residency fee we talked about that covers your hotel and meals while you're here for training, that's 1,650 per residency for a total of 4,950. So all that together gives you a total tuition value for the whole program, start to finish, of 69,323. So that's 69,323. Now, the good news is that graduate school is affordable. We do participate fully with the federal loan program, so if you felt like you wanted or needed a student loan, we could certainly help you with that. Some employers do offer tuition reimbursement, so if you're working, that's definitely a conversation to have with your employer. We're also approved for the VA funding for the GI Bill. We're also a yellow ribbon school. We also participate with AmeriCorps benefits. So if you have any of those that you can use, then we do participate with all of them. We also have a very nice scholarship program available. You can find them easily on our website. Just search for scholarships, it'll come right up. The way scholarships work at DMU is you can apply for 4 and you can accept 2. Right now, we're giving away a bonus 3rd scholarship, an extra $2,000 just for getting your paperwork started early. There are other ways to fund your degree outside of DMU. Some people use private funds. We do have a matching scholarship available. So if for any nonprofit support you can find from outside the university, we would match that up to $2,000. So if you belong to a religious or fraternal type organization, or know some sort of agency that would support you in your education, we can match any nonprofit dollars up to $2,000. We also have a cash plan we can set up internally that's interest-free. So if you felt like you could chip away at it a little bit each month, we can set that up for you internally with no fee, no interest. There's also an interesting federal program called National Health Service Corps. Again, use your favorite search engine. It'll come up first link, I promise. This is a program outside the university, and the way it works is if you're willing to work in an area designated either low income or underserved for 2 years after you graduate, what you would do is go to their website, search their job listings, apply for a job that would work for you in your area, negotiate the salary like you would any other job. Because you're working in partnership with National Health Service Corps, once you've served 3 months of the 2-year period, they'll give you a lump sum of up to $50,000 toward your student loan debt in exchange for working in that designated area. This is a no-brainer if you can work it out. I encourage you to look through their website and figure out if this would be something that would work for you. So at DMU, there are 2 paths you can take to fund your education. You can apply for scholarships, or you can take a tuition reduction through one of our partnerships. These logos are just a few of the entities that we partner with. There's a more exhaustive list on our website, so you can look through that and see if there might be something you're affiliated with that has a tuition reduction. They're pretty significant reductions, anywhere from 10 to 25%, so I encourage you to check it out. So our entrance requirements, again, are the bachelor's degree. We require a GPA of 3.0 overall, or in your major, or in your last 60 credits. We do require the GRE, although it can be waived if you have a master's degree or higher already. And then once you have completed all your application paperwork, we do have an interview process. There are 2 video conferencing interviews that we can set up. The first one's easy. It's a quick 30 minutes with me. Mostly it's a coaching session to get you ready for the big interview, which is a 3-hour online group interview with 2 or 3 other applicants to the program and 2 faculty members. Now, maybe you're saying to yourself, that's all well and good, but how do I know really if this is the right path for me? How do I discern whether or not I should move forward with this? And I'd encourage you to just ponder these 4 questions carefully. Take them to prayer, answer yourself honestly. Do you have the desire to help heal the whole person and to help people flourish? Would you like to have a career which enables you to answer the question, how can I help people? What can you do to make a positive contribution in others' lives? Can you be that instrument of healing? And finally, if you were to apply and be admitted, could you commit to finishing? Or in other words, are you someone who finishes what you begin? If you can give a solid yes to these 4 questions, then odds are you'll be a great fit for our program, and we'd love to work with you as you move through the application process as a final discernment tool. I encourage my applicants to use the application process kind of like the way a seminarian uses seminary to discern if this is going to be the right path for you. But if you can give a solid yes to these 4 questions, then honestly, this is probably a great fit for you. So our application process is pretty straightforward. This first step is an online demographic form. It takes 20 or 30 minutes. You can do it today if you want to. As a thank you for your attendance today, we'd like to give you a code to waive the application fee. You can see that here, CCMMP 1999. If you jot it down on a Post-it and then lose your little note, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to provide the code again. And that's our little thank you for your time today. Once you finish the first part of the application, we will be looking for 2 brief essays, a 500-word personal statement and a 200-word professional statement. We'll ask you to upload a current version of your resume or CV. We'll also need transcripts for any degrees conferred. So you don't need to send me all your community college transfer credits, only transcripts that reflect a degree conferred. And then we also require 1 recommendation. The recommendation will be linked in the application, so you can just share that link with the person who's going to be your reference. All we require is that form. No formal letter is required. The recommendation, however, must come from a past or current work supervisor in paid or unpaid work, or from a past or current professor. Again, I want to thank you for attending our webinar. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Just pop them into the chat or into the Q&A. So no questions, it looks like, in our chat or in our question and answer box. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.